Welcome, everybody, to the second hour of Mindshifters Radio. And today is Wednesday, May the 26th, 2021. And our call-in number is 563-999-3581, and press 1, and that puts you into queue to talk to us. We'd love to hear your comments and questions because that makes this your show. Welcome, Michael. Hello, Michael.
Thank you, dear heart, and welcome, everybody. Delighted that you're here with us. We are blessed today that Aramaic is with us. You can hear that sweet little voice in the background. And we are blessed to get to engage in this conversation about forgiveness once again. And we're going to talk today from Why Is This Happening to Me Again? About the topic of what the world calls sin. But we're going to give you a different idea than the false ideas that the world has. You know, the Greek language has a certain timbre to it, has a certain way of thinking. And if the man Yeshua, who sourced the ideas that are expressed from the first century Aramaic language in the Greek scriptures today, he'd say, you know, if he sat listening to someone, he'd say, that's all Greek to me, because it is so far out of alignment with the truth of what was taught 2,000 years ago. And so we're going to start out with chapter 13 from Why Is This Happening to Me Again? And what you can do about it. And the chapter title is Off the Mark. If you're reading along with us in the book, we're on page 73. If you do not have a copy of the book, you can usually find one on Amazon or on eBay used. The book is out of print tomorrow. Or you can go to our website, whyagain.org. You can download it freely. So we're going to look at this idea of sin as opposed to the, terrible, awful, evil thing that you've done that you deserve to be, who knows, all the garbage that goes on around it. But this word sin actually is an archery term. And so we're going to look into what it really means. And I'm talking to a character named Richard, who's this recalcitrant kind of fellow that showed up at Heartland, on his third divorce, heading out of town, knowing it was the fault of all those women in his life, and all he needed to do was get away, then everything would be all right. He stops, and we are having a conversation about some of these ancient Aramaic ideas. So we've just finished a chapter on what it means to hold a space of love, to do a love exchange with someone, to get quiet, go inside, find the deepest, clearest love that you can, open your eyes, and extend that love through your eyes to your partner. And so I'm offering him as the opening thought in chapter 13. I invite you to focus, Richard, on holding a space of love for yourself as we talk about sin. Watch what surfaces and be aware of the present moment, your present moment realities. Most of us has bought into sin as something terrible and awful. It is something we've been taught to feel guilty and bad about. Sin was originally meant to be positive feedback. The English translation of the Aramaic word kata is sin. It's an archery term. When you find a target, when you fired at a target and missed the bullseye, the scorekeeper yelled sin. In Aramaic, it meant you're off the mark, which in practical terms means improper for your energy system or less than your highest and best. It does not mean you're evil, damaged, or should be groveling in the dirt. The simple implication is to adjust your aim. It's time to take another shot, time to do something different in your life. The human energy system is based on love and created in the image and likeness of love. When you put an energy in that is less than what is proper for that system, you defile or destroy it. Engaging only in energies that support your energy system was called living in accord with the law. In the interest of self-preservation, it's good to have accurate feedback and know when you're off the mark or have, quote unquote, sinned. So Richard offers, well, that sure puts things in a different light. And, the whole objective of this work, of everything that we're doing, is to put things in a different light, to recognize these original Aramaic words. And it's interesting that at least 5 of the world's major religions come out of the Aramaic language, and not because there's anything religious about the language, but rather that in Aramaic, the words accurately describe how this energy system called the human form operates, and if it has been defiled, if it's been filled with energetic patterns that are off the mark, how to remove those patterns, which incidentally is called forgiveness. It's interesting, if you go back to the words of Vladimir Lenin, who's probably responsible for more deaths on planet Earth than any human being in history. He says, if you want to destroy a culture, all you need to do is change the meaning of its words. And so many words, the meanings have been changed. For instance, this simple word, sin. Or, of course, the objective of this whole process we're entering into is to understand forgiveness. And to recognize that word, too, has been changed. That forgiveness has nothing to do with letting other people off the hook because of pain or trauma happening inside of you. Forgiveness is simply the tool which, if you're in pain or trauma, with which you remove that pain and trauma and free yourself of those energies that are off the mark, quote unquote, free yourself of sin. So forgiveness isn't about you're going to be forgiven for your sins. That's a total misnomer, and of course it leads people off in a totally incorrect direction, and people begin to do all kinds of things when they don't have accurate definitions of words. So forgiveness of sin is not, this idea, oh, I've been forgiven, therefore I'm somehow pure and holy and above you. It's not. There's nothing in the Aramaic that holds that sort of a context. It's that I can engage, if I recognize that I'm off base, I can engage in removing the energetic patterns that are damaging the quality of my life. And so I remove those offending energies and I engage in forgiveness. It's not that I get let off the hook for it. But if I'm out there looking to be let off the hook and I never remove those energetic patterns, chances are I'm going to be playing out of those patterns again and again and again. We've been tricked. The whole game has been turned backward when it came out of the Aramaic language and was put into the Greek. And so we're looking to bring correction to those Aramaic ideas so that the teachings of this man Yeshua become sensible and fit into the real world in the way he intended them to be fit into people's minds and into people's lives. So that's our objective here, and we're honored and delighted that you're here to be part of the process. And Miss Jeannie, do we have anybody out there in the phone queue with a hand up or anything happening in the chat room? Anything on your mind for today?
No, it's all quiet out here. Nobody has a hand up. Ari's just playing. So press 1. We got 50 minutes. We got a lot of time.
Yes, we do have lots of time, and we're honored that your ears are here to listen, to engage in this first century Aramaic understanding, and to take tools and put them to work. If you have not yet engaged in the forgiveness process, we invite you to go to our website, whyagain.org, and in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see a link that says Start Here. If you click that Start Here button, it'll open a whole series of links that will explain everything that we've been able to understand from the Aramaic language about forgiveness. And, of course, all of the corollary tools that tie in with the forgiveness process. So go to whyagain.org, click in the upper left-hand corner, and you'll be starting on a journey. You can actually engage in the step-by-step forgiveness process live right there on the website. There's a worksheet that you can do live. You can download any one of several different versions of the worksheet and print them off on your printer and start working on the process. You can also go to your app store on your phone and simply type in the words Heartland, Heartland, Aramaic, Aramaic, forgiveness. You'll be looking at the world's only forgiveness app. And if you download it, you'll be able to engage in that step-by-step. Jeannie's actually designed and created the app so that there are two different worksheets, two different versions, a simpler and the more complex version of the how-to of forgiveness. You can fill them in on your phone. When you complete filling them in, you can just discard them. If you shut the app down, then they're gone back into the digital world. Or you can choose to save them, and we should suggest that you do that as a digital file. You can print a PDF and keep a record of it. So lots of options there, and we're here to create support, to answer questions, to make this process as powerful and profound and simple and straightforward as we possibly can. And if you're out there in listener land, if you're on one of those stations where we can't see you, then you can't communicate with us directly unless you call into the show. The call-in number is 563-999-3581. If you call that number, you'll be listening to the show. And then if you push 1, that'll raise a hand in the control panel, and you and I will be having a conversation. And so we'd love to hear from you. What's on your mind? How have these tools impacted your life? Anything to share on what's happened? Anything that you need support with? Anything you need clarification with the tools? Push 1, and let's say hello. Miss Jeannie, is there anything in your venue that you have any thoughts about for today? Aside from you've gotten the 48 tape series all lined up and ready to rock and roll?
I'm just about done with those. Not totally yet, but by the end of the day, probably.
Huge project.
So,
thank you.
And I am working with, for some reason, the app is not allowing people to save or print their worksheet when they get to the end of it. And so I have someone that I'm working with now in India. And so hopefully we'll get that fixed and up and running so there won't be those issues. And
cool.
Other than that, and the news we had on Dad this morning at the doctor's office, so they at least potentially think that it's Parkinson's and that there's a medication that can help lighten up the symptoms, I guess, would be it doesn't cure it by any means, but hopefully we'll get him back a little bit.
Yeah, the doctor was quite hopeful this morning as I visited with him that his diagnosis was accurate, that it is the beginning stages of Parkinson, and they do have a medication that is supposed to make quite a significant difference very quickly for him. So if everybody would hold the space for Jeannie's dad, that will give him a boost, that would be awesome.
And we had a hand just go up.
Oh, great. Let's say hello.
Area code 718, you're on the air.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome. Give us a name. Where are you calling from?
My name is Casey. I'm calling from New York City.
Welcome. How do you be? How can we support you?
Oh well, I heard the show you did with Ben Azadi on
Right.
Keto Camp. Yeah, it was great.
Yes.
So yeah, and I was interested in it because I have asthma, and part of the title was about breathing.
Yes.
But it ended up being, yes, partly about breathing, but more about forgiveness, which I really appreciated. I went through a pretty bad divorce a few years ago, and I'm still trying to forgive. So I tried some of your techniques this weekend, just breathing through the anxiety that I feel towards a divorce.
Right.
And it seemed to help. I haven't filled out the worksheets yet or downloaded the app, but I'm going to do that. But I was just kind of curious as to the next phase or the next steps.
Well, downloading the app and starting to look at the forgiveness process, and on our website there's lots of instruction about how to fill out that worksheet. There are at least 20 different radio shows where either myself or Dr. Tim Hayes, who does the first hour of the show, or Jeannie, have walked somebody through the forgiveness process, and you can take that, and I mean, you'll just see some dramatic changes. I identify with the asthma. I was my father was called the night I was being born and told that if he didn't get to the hospital, he would not see me alive because asthma was going to take my life from me back then at my birth.
Right.
And for the first 25 years and it was actually my motivator, was asthma to start looking at healing and understanding what the healing process is like. And now, many decades later, my lungs are healthier than they've ever been in my life as I continue to work with the process of forgiveness and, clean up the emotional energetic patterns that I've loaded into my own tissue structure without realizing it. And so as you start to apply forgiveness to hostility, fear, sadness, grief, loss, then you'll find that those energetic loads will just start to be lifted and disappear. And, my experience was such a significant change in my lungs that I've actually, when they do a so-called health fair, usually disease fair, where they, convince people about all sorts of diseases. I've done that more than once, and they've checked my lungs and been like, wow, you have a great lung capacity. And then I tell them my history and like, well, let's check again. That couldn't possibly be right. We must have made a mistake. So I hold the space that as you take the tools and use them, you're able to take the load off of your lungs, whatever that energy is about. And again, in context of our introduction, the word that would be applied in Aramaic would be to lift the energetic patterns, the sin, the energies that don't belong, off of the tissue structure. You realize that the mind functions through every cell in the body, and everything that we engage in energetically is stored in the tissue structure. Wherever there are energies stored that don't belong, that's where our diseases show up. It isn't disease as something that's out there to get us, but rather that when we put an energy into any part of our tissue structure, we put a load on it and inhibit its performance. And as you lift that load, it tends to go back to higher levels of health. So we'll hold the space and look forward to supporting you as you engage in the forgiveness process and starting to look at that.
Well, excellent. Thank you. I was wondering, did you have any sort of time frame from the time you started this process to where you completely got rid of your asthma?
Well, we're so individual, and how deeply am I willing to engage in the process, and how much time I'm willing to dedicate to it. I couldn't really offer a time frame, and I'll offer that I still have from time to time a challenge with my lungs, but nothing like the first 25 years where I didn't go anywhere without breathing support. I literally live on an inhalator, and I haven't used an inhalator in several decades. But I won't say that I'm 100% complete with asthma. I still have some lung challenges from time to time, and each time that happens, I look at, okay, what's the next level of my work? What do I need to clean up to let this energy go?
I see. Okay, well, I look forward to working the tools that you guys have available.
Yeah, well, go to the website, the upper left-hand corner, start here, and download the worksheet process and start to build the brain cells. And, there are many different radio shows where there are sets of instructions for using the worksheet, the actual forgiveness process. And each one, they're live shows, just like, if you were a little more acquainted and you were ready to work with an issue and jump in, we might walk through a worksheet. And each of those shows, that's exactly what we've done. So each one has a different timbre to it. Each one has a different person with a different issue, and so each one refines the understanding of the forgiveness process a little more. And as you build the brain cells and build your understanding of it, we'll look forward to supporting you and working through it.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely delighted. Blessings.
All right. Well, take care.
All right. Blessings. Bye-bye. Yeah, and the interview that the gentleman was talking about, Ben Azoti, Azoti, if I remember correctly, is a fellow who has a podcast called Keto Camp, KETOKAMP. So you can look up that interview. It was about an hour interview that I did with him back a few weeks ago, and so delighted to hear from you. Call-in number is 563-999-3581. How can we support you? What's on your mind?
We have a hand up.
Great. Let's say hello.
Area code 480. You're on the air. Who do we have?
Hi, Jeannie. Hi, Michael. This is Cecilia in Phoenix.
Hey, welcome, young lady. How are you?
Actually, I'm fine, and it wasn't COVID. I told you that. And
glad to hear that. And it sounds like it was still pretty heavy duty, and you've really had to dig in and do your work.
Yes, I'm doing my work a lot. I had to go to an integrative biological oral surgeon, and
dentist.
She confirmed that it was a cavity that became an infection.
Right.
And I've been doing my work really a lot. Like, my whole mind is focused on it 24/7 on doing my work. And I love it. I love the fact that I imposed all of these thought disorders on me. No one did it to me. And so I love the fact that because I did that, I'm also holding a space of love, and I'm asking the Holy Spirit to assist me in healing and keeping love conscious, active, and present, and becoming conscious of the subconscious the reasons for all of this. And I guess
what kind of unconscious dynamics are happening?
Yes, and to gently, I love the word gently. I haven't been a gentle person my whole life, so gently remove what has caused it. So I was working for someone who owns a couple Airbnbs, and that's one of my jobs, to clean it. And I was at his place yesterday cleaning. I had lost that tooth. It's an eye tooth from the cavity, and so that's not fun to have no tooth there. Anyway, but I'm dealing with it. I gotta one tooth. I'll eventually get an implant, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I got a partial that it's just sitting in there right now. So,
right.
So I was working for him yesterday, and he's out of town. He's in San Diego, and when he goes to San Diego, I clean for. He usually cleans his own Airbnbs. So, there's a metal door that has a full glass pane window in it out to this outdoor shower. Actually, it's really cool. And there's also a laundry room in that area where the outdoor shower is. And so I know from working for him for 4 years that you have to pull that. It's like a cigar shape handle. You have to pull that in because it's not professionally made. He made it. He's an artist too. Okay. So anyway, so in order to take the bolt, to unlock the bolt to get it open, okay, to open the door. So I'm doing my usual pulling the handle thing, and not, enough that I know I have to pull it enough to get the bolt to turn. As I pulled it, I knew I had to just grab the handle and just pull it, it's so that I can pull it in tight as I'm pulling.
Got it.
Opening.
Where are we heading here? I'm not quite getting where we're going.
The handle flew off of the door. It's still in my hand because I had such momentum in my arm to pull that thing. It went flat into my front two teeth. Okay.
Ouch.
It busted up my all my muscles and everything in my upper lip. It my teeth cut open the inside of my lip, and I rushed myself to my biological dentist, and she took X-rays and she said it's your teeth aren't going to have to, you're not going to lose them, but you have to not have activity. It's so incredibly swollen, and you can't finish the job. You can't clean for him tomorrow. You cannot do anything because that's where the tooth, that next to it,
need to take care of yourself.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So my question to you with that is, I'm doing this work. Why is all this stuff happening? I mean, I can't even believe that I'm doing work, I'm 24/7. I'm not trying to say I deserve it, but I do deserve it. I deserve being, okay, I feel like, so what I came up with is, listening to my intuition, is I have a part inside of me that has actually wanted to kill me my whole life, okay? From my upbringing.
That's a pretty heavy-duty thought.
Well, it is, and I was very suicidal a lot of my life, just to end the pain of growing up in a family that I did and not knowing how to deal with it. And so, let me ask a question. Let me ask a question.
So,
Sure.
Do you tend to find yourself in situations where you hurt yourself often?
I have my whole life. I attracted men who abused me horribly. I attracted them, okay? They had their own mission, but, that's their business.
Right.
Are you there? Oh,
I'm here. Yep. You're loud and clear. And so my offering would be that it sounds like it's time for you to let go of self-punishment. You might want to dig out some worksheets.
A most amazing thing happened. As I told you in many calls, my father molested me. My grandfather was a pedophile and molested me, and I did worksheets on that. And so I had this. My mother told me it was my fault. We already discussed that, and that I'm a whore and I'm a slut and I'm a prostitute and la la la. And so I eventually took on that role in relationships, okay? So, because I thought that's the only worth that I had, that's the only reason anybody would want anything to do with me. I took the road of being very attracted to strippers not as a woman thing, but as thinking maybe I could do that for a living because that's all I'm worth. I never did it as a living, but I hung out in strip clubs. I thought of becoming an owner of a brothel. I thought none of these came true for me to do any of that.
It sounds like it's time. It sounds like it's time to go to a new level of removing these thought disorders of you deserving nothing but abuse. And one of the aspects of it, it sounds like, is self-abuse. So I'd be doing some worksheets in that arena and
serious
start
masochistic self-abuse. Serious, okay? So anyway, I listened to this raw food vegan psychiatrist that lives in here in Arizona back in 2000 when I just almost became a raw food vegan, and I told him the whole situation, that I'm very masochistic and people run away from me when they find out that I am, guys, and so unless they want to join in the game of abusing me, which is who I only became attracted to. And so he said in this, I saved the recording of it and listened to it about 2 weeks ago, and he said, it's something you need to let go of. And he said, because it doesn't invoke the divine. And when he said that, and I've heard this recording probably 4 times since 2000, and I couldn't get it. He said, because you always want to invoke. I mean, you're wanting, this masochistic abuse of yourself, and so he said, you need to have the love flow instead, and so you need to let go of the other stuff. And I said, I don't know what that means. What do you mean, let love flow? I mean, I'm listening to myself now in 2000 on the recording, thinking to myself, the good thing is I get it now, but I couldn't get it until now. And so he said, let it go. So here's the big thing. Is I call it a fitness pole or dance pole, but actually it's a stripper pole. And I've had it since 2008 when I decided that I was going to teach. I was going to do.
So Cecilia, I'm gonna interrupt your story here for a minute because we're doing a lot of story, but we're not really getting very far.
Okay,
and what I'd like to do is help you to get through some of this.
I took it down out of my house. It's out of my house. I'm so happy that I'm not attracting that. And I am. And now he said you need to connect from the heart. And I said to him in 2000, I don't know what that means. And so I do know what it means somewhat now, and I'm really, really happy that I'm not coming from that extremely damaged place that I was attracting from abused me to the maximum, to the point of degradation and everything. And so I think my teeth, it's a way to abuse myself, okay, the teeth. Is when that door handle came into my teeth, and I thought I had lost them yesterday. And it's like I thought, what's going on inside of me? And what came up was there's still part of me that wants to degrade me. Okay.
Yeah. Cecilia.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to hold your story because here's what you're doing right now. It sounds to me like you're lost in your story and you're just running in circles with it. It's time to put an end to the circles and put the pen to the paper. Remember when we've talked about this process of forgiveness, the process of removal, and that the removal is the removal of the thought disorders that you're engaging in about yourself. And, if you go back to Yeshua, they said, well, how many times do we need to forgive? Is 7 times enough? And if you remember, we've said before that in Aramaic, his answer was no, 77 times 70. And it sounds like you know where your work is, and it's time to simply put the pen to the paper and start to uncover each self-abusive, self-deprecating thought and let loose of them. Just move in the direction of letting go of them on still another level. And if you've listened to the show the last couple of days, we've talked about the chapter of the book on holding a space of love and being in that practice of literally bringing love present into your physiology. And I'd suggest that if you weren't listening to the show the last day or two, that you start from 2 days ago, or maybe 3 days ago, 3 shows back, and start to listen and do that love exchange exercise in the mirror with yourself as you're forgiving. Good. So you're on track.
It's hard.
And
it's not easy. Okay.
And what I do is, take a look at, I have the thought that it's going to be hard. And what you'll do is you'll make it complicated. You'll make it difficult for yourself. So I'd suggest that you do some forgiveness around that thought that you hold that it's going to be hard for you to do. Take the worksheet out step by step and go through and do some forgiveness around the idea that life has to be hard. And as you start to let go of that, and that it sounds like, that's going to be your 77 times 70 worksheet issue, and that there's where your next piece of work is.
Yes. I would
I'd
really
be
like
putting the pen to the paper.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Pen
Just
to the
put
paper.
the pen to the paper and go for it.
Okay, that's
Next
all I
level.
have to say is pen to the paper.
That'd be my support for you.
Okay,
Dig
I appreciate that.
And it's a two-sided project or process. One side is the love exchange, to really be doing that love exchange with yourself, and the other side is the forgiveness process of removing whatever surfaces in the way of self-deprecating thoughts. And it sounds like they're really in your face big time, and it sounds like you're moving through it. So I'd be practicing letting go of my story. There's a tendency for you to be a little bit stuck in your story, and to let go of that story and to move into. In fact, have you used any of the? You have used. Now I remember we assigned a while back a mind shifter to you. Would you be willing to take another mind shifter to work with?
Definitely.
Okay. So got your pen handy?
Oh no, I was going to listen to the show. I don't have a pen on me right now.
Okay. Well, it'll be in the archives then. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So were you going to say what it is? Oh, here's my pen.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the mind shifter?
So I'd work with a mind shifter, and for anybody that's listening to the show, a mind shifter is another tool that we teach, and the way that you use the mind shifter is you take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, write the mind shifter on the left side of the page, and then as you write it, just whatever comes, just free flow of thoughts, do a brain dump out on the right side of the page. So, Cecilia, the mind shifter that I'd suggest that you work with is, it's easy for me, Cecilia, to hold myself in high self-esteem. As I recognize that I am love.
Okay.
So I take that worksheet and with the what you've said so far, and as deep as this issue goes, I'd set aside an afternoon, a morning, where you've got at least 4 hours to just sit and write that mind shifter, and then let yourself do a brain dump. Write every thought that comes up on the other side. And I think what you'll find is you'll be uncovering some of the thought disorders that you need to forgive. But, turn your phone off, get in your own space so that, you're totally focused on nothing but writing that mind shifter and letting whatever comes up in response to it come up. And then once you're complete, go back and look through what you've written and look at, and you'll probably find yourself putting down on the page some things you've been unconscious of and ways that you've thought about yourself. And those will be the subject for additional worksheets that when you step into them will help you to move through those energetic dynamics.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then we'll be holding a space of love for you, and any assistance and support we can be, you know where we are every day.
Thanks, Martin.
All right. Holding the space for you.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
All right. Blessings. Bye-bye. One of the thoughts that Cecilia brought up was this idea of the Greek word in Aramaic. There's no resemblance to the words Holy Spirit in the Greek language. In Aramaic, the words that were translated by the Greeks as something to do with a disembodied spirit being actually speak of the fact that inside of each of us is this elemental force, a feminine elemental force, and it's like we were each given an assistant for moving through the pain and trauma that we carry. And we can ignore that assistant or that support that is internal to us, or we can invite it into activity. And so Ruka Dekudsha in Aramaic, again, they're the words that were translated as the Holy Spirit, isn't about something to do with the disembodied spirit, but speaks about the fact that there is this feminine elemental force inside of you that when you invite it into activity will do two things by definition. It will, one, undo the effects of your errors. Energetically, you'll see all kinds of things shifting in your body and around you in your life as you invite that and develop relationship with that elemental force within you. So undoes the effects of your errors and then teaches you the truth that, we've been taught in our culture so many lies about ourselves, who we are, about other people and who they are, and how to treat ourselves and how to treat each other, that we tend to create all sorts of dramas and traumas within our lives. The truth is, if you go back and hold a newborn child, you'll, as you tap into the essence of the newborn, you'll recognize the truth about the newborn is that of love, and that there is a voice for love inside of each one of us. We've been taught by our culture to ignore it. We've been taught by our culture to buy into the hostilities and fears of the world and to ignore that voice and that elemental force that exists in us. What Yeshua was talking about 2,000 years ago was inviting that elemental force into activity and giving yourself time to pay attention to it, to really listen to the instructions that you'll be given. And, the kind of instructions you'll get are just so exact and so right on that as you really start to listen, you'll be amazed. I can remember one of the first times in becoming acquainted with this idea from the Aramaic, and this goes back, well, let's see, my daughter's about 40 right now, so she was probably 2 years old, so this is probably 38 years ago. I was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I had been doing a lot of speaking at a center there called Unity, and they had asked me if I would do a Sunday service sometime in the future. It was a 3 months away. And I, said, yes, my calendar's clear. I'll be glad to do it. And so they said, well, what's the title going to be? And I simply came up, it was just very spontaneous, and I entitled it Prelude to Prosperity. And I really didn't have a thought about what it was going to be about, or, it was just like there was the title on the tip of my tongue, and that's what they published. And literally, a couple of months goes by, it's, Monday or Tuesday, and I'm contemplating, what am I going to speak about next Sunday? Because I don't really have a clue what that's even about. And Saturday night, I still didn't know what I was going to speak about on Sunday morning. And Saturday night, I had a dream. I'd been asking for guidance, and in the dream, I was given a word and a page number in the dictionary. I got up in the morning, I opened the dictionary to that page, and sure enough, that word was on that page, and in it was the whole talk that I gave that morning. So from when I went to sleep on Saturday night, I'm speaking at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning with no clue what I'm even going to speak about. I'm given such specific guidance right down to a page number in the dictionary. And that's how profoundly available, when we're willing to listen, that which in the ancient teachings was called the still small voice, how profoundly available that will be to you. Of course, you can reject it. You can, not pay any attention, and it will seem like, oh, well, that's all a fantasy. There's no fantasy to it. Literally, there is a power in you that will instruct you. That's the real teacher. I'm out here working to be a symbol of that real teacher, working to provide the tools that literally take each person who engages in these tools back inside themselves to the real instructor, to that connection that each of us needs to make, and to support each person living in relationship with that power within you that has literally every instruction you need for what the next step, the next phase of your life is, and what your life is really about. So the invitation is to really listen, and each tool, the forgiveness process, there's a step in there for inviting that power to go to work in you. As you do something like the Mind Shifter tool, if you'll just let yourself step in and start writing, you'll find yourself literally writing instructions that will open the next step in your world and where your life is designed to go. And so thank you, Cecilia, for bringing up Ruka Dekucha, the Aramaic term that was translated as the Holy Spirit, and what it really means. The actuality of it. When you go back to the Aramaic teachings 2,000 years ago, when you understand the words in context, not the Greek misinterpretations, it is so profoundly powerful. It's just amazing. So thanks for the opportunity, Cecilia, to elucidate on that idea a little bit. And Miss Jeannie, we are at the point where we've got about 12 or so minutes left, so we've still got time for conversation. Do we have anybody in the phone queue with a hand up or anything happening in the chat room?
No, it is all quiet.
Well, then it's time for a hand to go up. Let's say hello. Somebody. What's happening out there?
We have one up.
Great. Let's go for it. Thank you.
610, you're on the air.
Hey, hi.
Hey, young lady, welcome.
Hi. When I've been on Dr. Tim, it's hard to get your attention. The ones don't seem to work unless I keep pressing them off, on. So I guess they flash or something. I don't know what your switchboard looks like.
You have Jeannie's phone number, so you can always send her a quick text if you're trying to get through, and
I could.
We'll make sure to pay attention to you.
I know. So I have two testimonials. One is that I was about to go for an errand. I got a text from my grandson, Luke, and he said, I'm in a really bad way. Can we talk? And I said, sure. So we talked, and we talked for about an hour and then got off. And then he texted me and said he had told me that he's broken up with his girlfriend and he's met a girl that he really likes. And this is over a long period of time. In any case, he said, I'm about to go to work, and this young woman that I really like is going to work, and I'm having terrible anxiety over it. And I said, how about we do a worksheet? How much time do you have? And he said, I have about an hour. And I said, well, we can do it as fast as we have to. So, man, was he ripe and ready. And he had wonderful insights. And he felt as if he was well enough to go and just allow the girl to be who she is and give up the goal of having her focus on him, like him, all that stuff. And he said, I'm just going to do that. I said, just do it for this afternoon. If it seems like too much for afterwards, just go to work and watch her, ask her questions about herself, be curious, observe, breathe. If anything comes up that doesn't feel right, stop in your tracks, breathe, and observe and allow. And he just texted me and said, she asked me if we could get together. He's in ecstasy. So, Michael, your tools are fabulous, and they're fast-acting, much faster
well, that's
than
awesome that he's in such willingness. I mean, congratulations, Orb.
Yeah.
for your persistence with him. I mean, you've done years of work with him to support him getting to this place, and wow, what a great report.
Yeah, and he said, thanks for being in my corner. And I said, Luke, I've always been in your corner. I'm always here. And I'm telling you. And he said, I want to go down on my meds. And I said, well, I'm down on all meds. I don't take meds except once in a while, a little Xanax at night if my brain is going too fast. But from where I was, this is amazing. And it's the tool. He said, I want to do that. And, of course, he wants to impress her. So he's running every morning, doing push-ups whenever he can, eating a great diet, nothing like a girlfriend on the horizon. Boy, oh, boy. And the second
great motivation.
Yeah, I know. Second is we just had our Zoom meeting, and I reported to Dr. Tim of the huge, exhilarating Zoom meeting we had where one of the women in the group said, I don't even know if I should come on the group. I'm such a wreck. And I said, this is just where you ought to be. You want to do a worksheet? And she said, I don't think I dare. And I said, okay, let's start one. She did a beautiful worksheet and went from a 10-plus upset to 0 upset. She had a complete reversal and was ready to face a relationship that's been troubling her with her oldest boy. And it was just I just want to tell you, these tools are so good. And I don't have a question or anything. I'm still riding so high off the fact that she did all that work. And Tim Bingham and I just went, okay, go to the next one, fill that in. All we had to do is keep her on track, sort of like what you were doing with Cecilia, because this was a hydra times a hydra. And I said, all right, let's stick to one feeling, one thought, one goal. And then she went from the goal right to an enlightened goal. And I said, nope, back up. Go back to the immediate goal. You haven't done enough processing. And she said, okay. And she didn't want to face that goal that she had. Didn't want to process it, but did. And came to a much better enlightened goal, which is, she just emailed me and said, I feel like a new person. And now, Michael, she has had lupus for years. And she mentioned in her worksheet that her thoughts are looping. And I said, lupus and looping. And she said, oh, my God. And I told her. And
great catch.
Isn't that? And I sent the video with Eben Alexander and that other woman in it. And I'd love to work with her on her lupus, but I feel totally ill-equipped. Tim Hayes said the best thing. He said, you don't have to do anything. Just have her do her work.
Be the space and support her.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you've already opened the energy window for her. That sounds like just really profound guidance. Nice work. That's awesome. And, remember that you're not responsible for her outcome.
I
the
know.
good, the bad, or the ugly.
Yeah.
She is.
Right.
She did her work, and she made the shift,
She
and
did
that's awesome.
She did it. But you know what you said in the Course in Miracles, wake up the love in yourself or whatever, and the love in everybody else is awakened. That's what happened. We were so flying so high at the end of that Zoom. It's like Tim and I just went down and he said, wow, what happened? So it was just gorgeous. Anyway, I wanted to thank you, Jeannie, because you come on day by day by day by day by day by day. And sometimes you have to do a monologue for a whole day or a whole week. And
well,
you're getting results.
I certainly rejoice with you and celebrate with you and just say fabulous work. And to me, that's one of the other beauties of this teaching is that it's meant for any person to get up and use it for themselves and or support others in it. It's not something that somebody needs a lifetime of professional, training to do. Take the tool and it works. That's all. And
it does work.
It always amazes me, and I suspect that with the two situations that you just shared with us, one of the things that always amazes me is when people do the step of canceling the goal, where their minds go and what they get in touch with, just how it spontaneously drops in. And, the Course talks about returning your mind to the point at which the original error occurred. And people tend to think of that as, I have to do some big, deep, dark search. No, just take the moment and look at the goal that's driving your pain perception, cancel it, and bingo, there you go. And when we uncover that stuff, it's so simple and reproducible. Anybody can take it and do it. Of course, as you say, sometimes people don't want to go there. People, sometimes don't want to even be guided to go there. People who pretend, I don't have a power person dynamic in my life. This is all your fault, but
all right.
So that's just awesome. Congratulations to both you and
Thanks.
Tim.
It was so fun.
I share in your feeling wondrous.
I know, it's so good. And you know what? She was the one who, when I first started the Zoom classes, we were in person at my church. And she took one look at your worksheet, which is crowded, and you have reasons. She said, I can't do this. It's too crowded. I'm an art therapist. This is not art. This is just a mess. I said, all right, okay, hang in there. And now she reads every word, carbon-based memory, replicate memory, and all this stuff. And I said, these are speed bumps. Look at them as speed bumps. You don't even have to understand them. They'll slow you down so you do the work, and then you'll get to understand what they really mean. And then I used Tim Hayes' pattern, forgiveness pattern in there too, to slow us down even more if they seem to be going too fast. And that pattern in this case was fabulous. It led her into about 6 childhood memories that were like replications of what was happening with her son that created this goal. So, and she said, I knew those memories. And Michael, this is the true thing. I know we have to end. She said the connection, the doing the work and then connecting it with the memory makes all the difference. I know those memories.
Yeah.
But connecting it with this goal, bam, suddenly it made a difference. And she said
where
she
it
had
happens.
0 upset at the end.
That's what creates the opening for Ruka to enter and shift the energy.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. To me, that's what the Course means when it says, return your mind to the point where the original event happened. Again, it's not about looking for the event. It's about canceling the goal that spontaneously allows that return. And as I say, it always amazes me. Nice work, young lady. Congratulations.
Thanks,
the
Michael.
world rejoices. And thank you.
Nice work, young man.
All right.
Okay.
Mutual Admiration
Thanks,
Society. All right. Blessings.
Yeah, very much so.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. All right. Create the best year yet of your eternal life. It's an awesome gift to give the world. Blessings. Bye-bye.